Coach Phiwe, how are you, my brother?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on this platform. I appreciate it. You're doing exceptional work, and thank you for having me once again here.
Thank you very much, my brother. We are back at Visa.
Yeah.
Easy there in Limpopo with your snake, winning everything.
The snake one, really ilale kancane yabona. Give it some rest.
When you win everything, you leave us no choice but to suspect the snake there.
It's just commitment and dedication, my brother.
No, that is good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, my brother, before we proceed, let us get to know who is Phiwe Mabena, the coach. Before we get to the coach, who is Phiwe Mabena? Where does he come from, and how do you fall in love with football to a point where you are now?
Well, Phiwe Mabena was born and bred here in Tembisa, Hospital View, living close to, I can be proud to say, close to DJ Spoo and George Malulega's streets. So that I can be proud of. And then, I'm the last born in my family of 3, and raised by a single parent with really good background, but not really financially strong. But I couldn't complain about a lot of things. And then also I went to school, grade 1. There was a school called Esiziba Primary School. Then my mom transitioned me from Esiziba to Klorkop because she wanted me to learn Afrikaans. Because in grade 1 she wanted me to have my fundamentals were Sizulu. And then grade 2 I went to Klorkop until grade 7.
Is that why you suppose on dance?
I'll tell you after. Grade 2 to 7 Klorkop, and then grades 8 to 12 I went to Rhodesfield Technical High, Ngase Airport by Owar Tambo. And then starting to love football was at the age of 4. I remember very clearly in 2002 when I saw the World Cup. I saw Zinedine Zidane for the first time versus Brazil. I remember very well. And then I saw Ronaldo with that haircut that he used to do, his Chico Sakon. I can't remember properly, but yeah. Then I was like, no, I really like this because I could have good memory skills, and and my first local game, it was when there was still Telkom Charity Cup and the Vodacom Challenge, when AS Vita used to come, when Mazembe used to come, before Abu Manchester and Manchester City and Spurs.
It was pre-season.
Yes. That's when I fell in love with football. Then Gadlala, where we are, at 6, played for a team called Kangaroo FC. Then teams, they just separate and split. Then there was a new team. Kangaroo started from at the age of 6 until 9. When I was 9, the coach from Kangaroo saw that I have talent. Then wangithatha wangisa Wits University. It was still called Wits University at that time, and I joined them at the age of 9. Mangsuga from Lapo, joined the academy from 9. Then Bidvest bought the academy, and it was called Bidvest Vest, and I think that's where it was accelerated because money was pumped in and a lot of good coaches were in, and I could see the difference between training in Loksheni and training in an academy system. And then from there I left. I played until 13. From 13 I went to Sundowns. I went back to Klorkop because Sundowns wanted me when I was still in grade 6, because Klorkop and Sundowns had a partnership when I think Sundowns still sponsored by Dispring and Diadora. Yes, I still have the jerseys at home. So they got me there, and then I played 2 seasons. After that I left because the academy transitioned from, they had to go and amalgamate near Clapham, and I was still very young to go to Clapham when I was still in grade 6. So I went back to Wits. Then after that I played almost all my life at Wits. until I didn't make the MDC when it was introduced in 2014-15 because of certain alignments that are very deep. And then after that, I played Engine, all the big tournaments that we can mention. Played Ikamva Cup also in Cape Town when Ajax Cape Town was there. Ajax wanted me, but I still didn't have proper emotional intelligence to stay alone, to leave my parents, So I decided to stay with Vets, and yeah, that's the history before I transitioned into coaching and my childhood life.
I know you played for serious development teams. Very in Sundowns. At which position were you playing?
Main position was central midfield, but they would make you play other positions to develop certain technical skills. Like Evets, I played attacking midfield, but I was played right back to help my marking skills. So after that, I transitioned from right back into holding midfield in order to read the game properly. So I stayed in holding midfield. Then at Downs, I played attacking midfield and right wing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like central midfielders.
Yeah.
Abamnandi.
Yeah. Top.
They win the ball only to give it back to
No. No, I was very tiny in Ngomzimba, so I used to play with my head as a holding midfielder, because back then I'm a holding midfielder. They used to be seen as big, aggressive, hard tacklers, but I was taught to be. It was called the defensive playmaker. There was a coach called Reina Abrahams from Wits. He once told me that no, you are a defensive playmaker instead of a holding midfielder or defensive midfielder, because he didn't want me to think defense. He wanted me to think I am the first to attack. So yeah, that's what happened there.
Which other coaches coached Evades and Sundowns?
Karabo Mokhodi coached me.
Oh, Prof.
Yes.
You were coached by Prof.
Yes, Karabo Mokhodi. Tando Zulu coached me also. Reina Abrahams, Coach Matthew coached me.
Matthew George.
Yes, he coached me. Who also? There are a lot of coaches. Coach Pupu coached me. Yes. Yeah, then Lalokshin, there's a coach called the coach Matiti, who has played a very good role in the community in saving people's lives from bad things, because I always rate, I'm a community coach, yes, because they're accountable of people's children after school, Him also is one person who coached me. And then, yeah, then there's Dion Daniels, there's a lot. But yeah, those are the coaches that are well known. And Coach Mapakula coached me also. Yes, he coached me also. So yeah.
Paxi has been coaching, eh?
Yeah, he coached me. So yeah, he coached me when he was still. He was still with some coach called Coach Mateo was at Tembisa Sports Center. Yes, they were still sponsored by Akamens Ne, De Beers, Diamonds. I remember very well. So those are the coaches that played a huge role in my development.
So when you are at Veds, now MDC, you also studying at Veds at that time?
I was still in high school.
Okay.
But the problem is that they wanted, the transition was I go to MDC. Before MDC happened, the plan was to join the varsity team and to get a bursary from them. But the objectives and outcomes of that bursary wasn't what I was going to meet, And then also MDC happened, and I had to go in, and there was Pakaman Mahlambi was there. A lot of players were there. I played Nabombata from TS Sporting, also from Excellence. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go in there. And then things changed, political issues happened. And no, I don't want to unravel that. Yeah, but it should say volumes as a captain. I'm not saying I'm privileged, but as a captain from under 15 to 17, that transition should be easily seamless, introducing us to MDC. So yeah, that's what happened.
So is that how you end up starting to coach after that, or you
No.
pursued your playing career?
No, I started actually coaching at high school, because at high school there were no coaches, they were coached by teachers. So we used to play a team called Nocum High. He coached me also. He once worked with Kevin Johnson. Alan Clark, he's overseas now. He was at Platinum Stars and Super Sports United. And we always wanted to plan against them. So now, because I knew Alan Clark, how he does things, at break time with me, eating a chalkboard, and I write, no, this is what you need to do. You need to mark this one, you need to mark this one, you need to mark this one. And then that thing started happening. And also I'd ask the coach questions, adverts also. What did you think about my performance? What was the intention of the session, actually? Why do you want me to play there instead of playing there? Why don't you want me to kick the ball this way instead of this way? And then also during the game, when we play, I'd always pass someone the ball and I'd tell them where to pass. So my hand gestures were, to tell, hey, no, send there, no, scan, no, send it back there, So that kind of situation, it helped. And also being coached by young coaches showed me that it's possible, because Coach Karabo was very young there. Coach Tando was very young, studying, going to Portugal. And I was like, oh, this is really good. But I wanted to be professional, a professional player. But that thing just developed,
So it came
naturally, yes.
And then how does it officially happen now? You did it in unofficial capacity.
Yes.
Right? How does it now? What time does the decision come to say
full time?
I'm stopping playing,
Yeah.
going to coaching?
Well, it was 2016, Lost Engine Knockout Challenge. We lost to Pirates. I got an ACL, I remember. Ngalimali dolo. And then after Engine, we had to play GDL on that week, but my knee was bad, and then the doctor said 8 months. I was like, I won't stay for 8 months not doing anything. And I was transitioning from matric to tertiary now. And then after that, I was like, no, you know what, I wanna still be in football. And I stopped having the burning desire for football because of what happened with the MDC, and not knowing, because I was 17, and I was like, so if that didn't happen and this is my last Engine, what's going to really happen? Because I don't want to play ABC. I know the nitty-gritties that happens there. It was still called Vodacom. Yes, and then SAB was still, but it wasn't, because money was pumped in when, Abo Neil Tovey were like technical directors there. I thought I had a chance, but the team didn't have a SAB team also. So I didn't know where to go. I was like, I don't really have the vitality to play anymore. So I'd rather go and study coaching, and also, try and upgrade my game with coaching, and try and rub shoulders with other coaches that have coached me.
And so, the first opportunity to coach, how does it come about, and where does it happen?
So I joined when I was in tertiary. There's something called coaching practice, where you have to practice 480 hours of coaching in your first year.
So which course is this?
I started studying coaching sciences.
Coaching sciences?
Yes, coaching science. No. I went to ETA College.
ETA.
Yes.
Specialized in those?
Yes, specialized in sports, yes. I chose coaching science, specializing in football sciences. And then, I had to practice 480 hours of non-paying work, going to the school, signing in Anglovi, coaching over 300 kids on a daily basis. And I started with under 7s, kinder-kinetic soccer, kindergarten soccer, a crash, under 4s, under 5s, because it's scientific. We want to make studies about it. And then 7s at Littleton Manor, Littleton Primary School, just up there. And then, and then I coached a few mini festivals with them. Then I took 10s, 11s, 12s in 1 year. Then there was a guy called Thabo Khotsa. He bought a franchise, a Samba soccer schools, and he brought it to Pretoria. And he wanted to make a cohesion with the school to get the kids participating in soccer. At the end of the day, they come to Samba. And he chose me and a few coaches to say he would like to start this academy, this franchise. And we started it. I started coaching from an academy system, just can call it an academy or club, under 13s. And then under 13, I was like, no, we start under 13s, those boys must be 10 so that we can track the progression instead of having 13-year-olds play. And yeah, it started from there, and yeah, I joined from there.
So how old are you when you are coaching at Samba?
I was 17. Yes, 17, because I finished matric very early, and then I was 17. I coached there for 2 years. Yeah, because I finished coaching practice 480 in the school system, but after school I go to Samba, and that's where I started getting my first paycheck from coaching.
At 17?
Yes, I was making a living out of coaching while I was studying.
At 17, you're a kid yourself, right?
Mm.
When you're coaching, like you say, under 13s, 10-year-olds. Now, if you look back then and where you are now, do you think whatever emotional, in terms of emotional intelligence, mentally, were you prepared for that, or you were just doing it because you were someone who loved football and you were in a process of transitioning from playing to coaching?
I can say I wasn't mentally prepared, because all I had in my head, I'm going to be a student, and students only go to school, come back home, okay, coaching practice, okay, fine. I just took it just coaching practice, and then until I saw, this is what I can get out of this in my first year, because I thought maybe I'll get a job third year or something, but I had to acclimatize to the conditions. The mentality should be here when your mentality is here, so I had to upgrade the mentality level to be prepared to be dealing with these little human beings.
And so Samba, you are now a coach, you are getting paid, and then what comes after that?
From that, I got a call from Evets, Coach Reina Abrahams. For me, even Karabo calls him the professor. He is the professor.
Yeah, no, when that prof calls
yes.
another person a prof, then you must know.
He is the professor. He called me. He's like, hey, my captain, what are you doing now? You're still playing? I'm like, no, I'm not playing. It's like, now we have a SAB team. That's where Verts bought like their status. I'm like, no, I don't have a team, but what, do you want me to play? He's like, yeah, come play. I'm like, no, I've lost the vitality to play. He's like, what, do you want to coach now? I'm like, yeah, I want to coach. He's like, no, come through at Verts. Come through and work as my performance analyst. I'm like, okay. I just put a resignation letter at Samba. I join Vets, because I was still living in Centurion, so it's a Gautrain away. Get there, I joined as an under-19 performance analyst, just taking videos, rubbing shoulders with the prof, listening to his coaching doctrine, because I knew it from a long time. I can even dissect it without even if I sleep, if you wake me up at 2 a.m. Working under 19. Then the second year, he's like, no, I think you're ready to be under 15 coach for Vets, Ren Central, the Ren Central team, because Vets has many streams in their development. I was like, okay, fine, I can coach there. And I finished number 1 in the first year. But it wasn't about being number 1. It was how many boys in the under 15 team, because it was 13-year-olds. How many boys can I get into the under 15 GDL team for next year? And it was 6-7, and I was good about that. Then they said, okay, now we want you to go to GDL as assistant coach. I was like, okay, I can join Coach Bryce. This is coach called Coach Bryce, Brandon Peterson's twin from Kaizer Chiefs, the goalkeeper. Then we joined there, and then we pushed, and we did well there. And then I moved from there to under 17 assistant coach for Ren Central, working with Coach Math. And then my time came to pass because of my studies were coming to play, because I had to construct a thesis, and it was taking my time, so I had to leave them.
So you were doing all this coaching while you are studying?
Yes.
Still at ETA?
Yes, devoting to my studies and coaching.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me, so as they call you, you go and become a performance analyst. And for some of us, those issues, we still can just a person who is a coach with no training in terms of performance analysis go and do performance analysis straight without, because the way I see it, the way things are so technical now, there must be some prior training or maybe some experience of performance analysis before you can actually look at video clips. Because if you give me a video clip, maybe I'm interested in Ushugeda. When you are looking at technical things, that must come with a background. How was it difficult for you to transition from coaching? Now you're not doing day-to-day coaching, but you are sitting in front of a laptop analyzing videos and making notes out of it that can help the team in terms of preparation.
I think because there was a module in my second year called Performance Analysis 1, where we started understanding what is really performance analysis, because there are 5 streams of performance analysis. People just think that it's just video. So there's a data analyst checking data. You'd see maybe in the club or in the stats of the game, they say, hey, he ran 25 kilometers, or his heat map is like this. Then there's physiological performance analyst who analyzes the physiology of the player. You'd see them wearing that heart rate monitor, where they check if someone is overheating, is he dehydrated, does he need to get subbed, is he working at the kilometers that the coach, the sports science team requires from him. Then the other one, there's the performance analyst, meaning the whole cohesion or the whole group unit, the performance of the team. Then there is the technical performance analyst, who analyzes individual players on how they were accountable in the game. Then there's a tactical performance analyst who is more close to the coach now, who takes all the information from these guys and applies it tactically to say, this is how we can play because of the data, because of the scientific evidence that is backing us up to play this way. Then there's an opposition performance analyst and a match day performance analyst.
I call.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, the match day performance analysts are the ones that are we have something called game coding. They're coding the game. They are the ones coding how many passes do you make in 5 minutes. Then you'd see, for example, Jose Mourinho would run into the tunnel before halftime. People would think that he's angry. Even Rulani did it, but he's going to correspond with what the evidence is showing. So which effective areas can we affect? What are the stats? How many times are we entering the box? How many times are we playing in their half? The ball percentage, those kind of things. Then when the team comes, he will tell them, this is the evidence, this is what's happening, and that's how we can influence the game. So that's the whole area of performance analysis.
I know it's a module on its own.
Yes, it's a module. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very educational.
Yeah.
So you are now GDA, right? Okay. How did you do
that? I was very anxious, but I was assistant coach, but I was anxious. You know, when your fixture list, no disrespect to the Rand Central Football Association, maybe play Randbeck, you play Old Ben's Panorama. Then GDL, it's Pirates, Super Sport, Tax, Chiefs. You see Uti, hey, the level is, and Nami inhlakanipho yamele yande, and for my players now mele be strong, and you get anxious when you're on the touchline where you're like, am I really that good? Do my players really deserve me to be part of their development? But it was good. We won several games. I didn't like losing against School of Excellence as a player, but we always beat each other. But beating them also is nice because Vets and School of Excellence are ball-playing teams. So it was good to see from a player's perspective, and now coaches Riguti. Oh, basically, saw when we used to play, and I got to experience big temperament matches, playing against teams who want to win at all costs, players who are playing for contracts, because us we're not really playing for contracts. Coaches who are intentional about how they want to coach. Some footballer didn't like it in the eye, but it humbled us, and I was like, oh, okay, there are teams that play like this, and it was good to learn, from the other coaches at GDL. Good to, oh, we need to expect this, and the level is this high, and we train three to 4 times a week now instead of 2 times, because at first we were training 2 times, now it's 3 to 4. So now the seriousness is higher now. So that's what I experienced at GDL.
And then with all that experience now, you've played GDA, the level is a bit higher, you've experienced different approaches from different teams, which further expands your knowledge and understanding. Where do you go from there?
I go to, I forgot to tell you, I went to, there's a club called Club Football Midstream, Midstream. I went there because there's a guy who scouted me. His name is called Graham. He said he's studying at club called Club Football Midstream. So his business strategy is to be like City Football Group. He owns several football teams, and he calls them certain football names in football, club football names. And then he came from tax, and then he called me. He's like, no, I want you to work at Club Football Midstream. I worked there with the under 15s. We finished second within the Pretoria Football Association League, and then for 1 year after that I left them. I joined several schools. 2019, then 2020 it was COVID. There was nothing happening, and I chilled. I wasn't working in football, and it was very depressing that time because the smell, the parents around the field, the sound of the ball when it's passed, the keynotes, where the lingo of football. It was depressing. Then 2021 I got a job, a call from a school called Peps Polokwane. They called me. They said they liked my profile. They saw it on a certain network where we network as people, and we're looking for employment. Then they called me. They said they want me that side, and it started from there, where I joined a school that and we had to accelerate the program with the head of sports, with the head of football, and try to find innovative strategies because it's not like Emakaya. It was in Polokwane. It was probably the richest side in Polokwane, and we started there. 2 months time, then there was an academy that called me, called Rising Stars Football Academy in Limpopo, which I coach after school football, and also there is Zingabel Pansi. So we had to find innovative strategies, taking coaches to courses, finding ways to accelerate their program, participation level, 5-year strategy, and we took it from there, and we won a few trophies there at the school.
It is where your snake is at play.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. We won. This year has been a good year because last year there was no football. But it was more of an athletics year because they announced later that school sports can start. And that side I work as a PE teacher full time and also as a football coach. And then part time I work at Rising Stars Football Academy. And then we won several trophies this year. Under 12 league, under 10 Camp Discovery, I was coaching them. Under 13 Youth Cup, no, not Youth, under 13, Youth Cup at Michelle House because they were our rivals. We won. Then I got a call from the provincial team saying they wanted me to be lead coach of the Limpopo Schools Football Association. And I accepted the call.
So, all this is happening. What is happening with your studies at ETA?
I finished then, but I'll come back with the studies. At ETA, I was finishing 2021. Okay. Then I completed everything. Then I registered for to study again a degree in education. So while I was still doing that in Polokwane, I'm still studying even now a degree in education. Because I was taking some advisory from certain coaches who do that also, and then I was like, no, this is a good initiative. So, but that side I still study and I still coach again. So, So, that side, Limpopo provincial team called me. Then we had to scout over 200 and something players, but it wasn't good enough because that's not the scale of Limpopo, because Mabena in the map of South Africa, Limpopo is very big, because we didn't get a chance to go to Vembe, didn't get a chance to go to Giyani, didn't get a chance to go to Venda, didn't get a chance to go to Hamashashani or Turf deep inside. We only got boys from the town, and it didn't really fulfill because I know what Limpopo can offer. So, but it was good. Then we won Youth Cup. I think that was my fourth trophy.
Yeah, because you got to a point where every weekend you'll say you're going to play this competition, and the next thing we see a picture of you. Next weekend we play this competition, boom, a picture of you.
Yes.
And then we say that this man has a snake.
Nah, I think it's the players understanding the mentality, because where I come from, the mentality is already clear. From where I used to play, Vet Sundowns, it's already clear. They're institutions of winning or institutions of excellence. So there the mentality had to be changed, and we won several cups, and now it was a habit. I remember a certain Coach Phiwe told me that winning is a habit, and you develop a habit over 21 days. And I took that in my head. I was like, okay, I can transform this team in 21 days, not technically, but mentally, repeating certain habits to be successful. So, we won that one. Now we went to Bill Stewart tournament, which is one of the biggest tournaments in the country for primary school football. Out of 21 football federations, we finished 6th, which I think is good, but I think we should have done well, because there are certain games I think we should have won. Because I think I'll blame fatigue, because it's 5 days. They sleep, they come back, they sleep and come back, abantwana sometimes abalali ngesikhathi. And we won the Duck Shears trophy at Bill Stewart, and that was the only trophy that we won this week. I don't know about the other ones. So for now, that's my journey so far. Umlando wami coacher. I'm still studying and I'm still coaching.
In terms of studying, obviously there's academic studies that you did, the ETA, but obviously there's coaching courses that you are also doing. If you can just give us a list so that we understand, because from what I'm getting is your work is the foundation of your work is the studies that you've done, the things you've done in ETA, obviously your experience in development, but it's more scientific, it's informed by the academic side of things. So make us understand in terms of what you've done in terms of academic and what you've done in terms of just coaching courses.
All right, academically, I have a BSc in sport and exercise science. I have an advanced diploma in sports conditioning, and I have a diploma in coaching science, and I have an advanced certificate in sports conditioning and performance analysis. And then that's my academic side, and I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Education in intermediate phase to senior phase. And then coaching, I have a TNGS Spanish coaching diploma from the Valencia University. And then I have Scottish FA well-being courses, introductory courses, level 1.1, level 1.2, level 1.3. Right now I am a UEFA C candidate. Then I also have a few emergency courses like first aid, strapping. Then there are other certificates I did on the side, like speed and agility specialist, and also weightlifting specialist. So those are the courses I've done so far.
Tina is football fans, so boozing in weightlifting, man.
Weightlifting, I think, is the best investment one can do as a child, as a teenager. Investing in your strength and conditioning is the biggest thing, because you go to Europe, you'll see the boys. If you watch, not even go to Europe, if you watch UEFA Youth League, I watch it every Friday when it's UEFA time. Those boys are big. So investing in weightlifting, of course, increases muscle size, increases bone density, increases injury prevention, awulimali nje nanje, increases abantu bathi mawukuka insimbi uzoqina ngeke uchifte, but increases your explosiveness, and also increases your recovery time, because when your muscle is strong and you get injured, it recovers very quickly because it's used to stress. Because if it's not used to stress, you can't come back. It takes time to recover from. So those are one of the benefits of weightlifting for a teenager who wants to go pro.
Okay. So your background was sports science. Then one will say you look at the gentleman Muzi, just joined the Kaizer Chiefs, specializes in the field, and looks to then continue in this space, not to venture into coaching. What makes you've done this academically, and it supports the coaching side. I think it's an advantage to have it, but most coaches we know don't have that. What made you not want to focus on sports science, perhaps being a technical team supporting a coach, and made you want to be the one coaching?
I think I forgot to tell you that I worked as a sports scientist for the ETA first team, the men's team.
Okay.
Then I worked as the head coach also for a few months. But coming to that, I think one of the most important people in a technical team is the sports scientist, because the sports scientist does something called a periodization model. You'd hear coaches talk about periodization. No, we're fatigued. The players are not well taken care of. It is because your periodization is wrong. The sports scientist is like, you know, when your mom cooks, uqala aphile ngisho, uyaphila, uyakulungisela, uyapheka, then when ufika uyadla. That's what they do. If ufaka usawoti omningi, it's wrong. You won't enjoy it. If there's little salt, you won't enjoy it. If there's too much sugar, maybe uzophatha inyongo. That's where players get injured. If there's less of that, then the program is wrong. So the sports scientist is very important. And coming to what you asked me, it's it's more based on understanding, are you good technically or are you good scientifically? Because some, sorry to say, coaches want to be in the spotlight. They don't want to be backroom staff. The backroom staff, I don't like calling them that, are very important because they are the ones running day-to-day operations. So with the sports scientists that Chiefs just got, he's going to play an important role because he knows what he's doing, he understands the scientific way, and also helping the coach with certain trends that are happening scientifically to help him cater for the methodology of the team or the tactical work of the team. And also, there are people who really don't want to be coaches. They just start as fitness trainers and they just want to stick to fitness because they are fitness gurus, you know. So that's the answer.
Looking at your background you've given us, the courses you've done, like children's well-being in football, it indicates to me that this is someone who's invested in youth development, in football development. Now, there's been this debate that you get coaches, youth coaches, who are looking to progress into being senior coaches at senior team level. And therefore, coaches, you don't have coaches with years and years of experience just focusing on youth football with no ambition to go to the senior level. And that is an advantage to the kids because you are getting someone who's experienced, who's been doing this for years, not someone who's using it to get experience so that they can progress to the senior level. Where do you see yourself? Are you committed to being a youth coach, or do you have ambitions one day to be a senior coach at a senior team?
Good question. I do envision myself being a senior team coach one day because I want to feel how it feels to be part of an institution that has a senior team. Another one, yes, youth football. I'd like to stick in it, but I'd like to work in a high performance structure. Several institutions that have high performance structure, day-to-day operational work. That's where I'd like to be also, because they are top people. I still believe there are coaches who are pro license holders that still need to go to development because they have so much knowledge that they can give instead of always thinking about the next game. Think about, am I going to get fired tomorrow? I'd like to test both of them, but for me the ambition is to go to the highest level, which is professional coaching.
How important is science now in modern football? Because we are getting to a point, and you must explain to us, because we are constantly being told about technocrats. Some of us do not understand the terminology that the coaches use.
Yeah.
What is a technocrat? What's a relation to science to them?
Okay.
Because we are told the technocrats, they are more scientific, they use data and so on.
I think a technocrat is not a football term. That's the first one. Technocrat is someone who is a specialist in what they do. So if you're a specialist in engineering, he is a technocratic engineer. He knows what he's doing. He's a specialist. So someone would be called a football technocrat. So knowing you're a specialist in football. And then, I was once insulted for being a laptop coach because the laptop and the tablet, because I always go with the tablet and the laptop, the coaching board for that. And then with the football technocrat, for the fans on Twitter, or technocrats are people who are specialists in football, who use, in South African terms, who use more electronical gadgets, more technological ways of advancing the game and trying to put them beyond the other coaches who are not technocrats, because low-key there is a battle between old school and new school coaches. and we haven't really just unraveled that rivalry. It's like East versus West. Yeah, and then the importance of science in football is too far. It's too important. South Africa is still way back, still way behind from what I've learned scientifically, but it is very important because coming to things like periodization, load monitoring, regeneration, supplementation before and during and after the game. You'd see in the EPL players taking in gels. In SA, no, we don't have. Usually Sundowns does that, but we don't know why they're doing. Some teams you'd see they are doing certain things, but you don't know why. Like for example, you see halftime, Mabena Macone, and then they're doing phosphate, but they don't know why. It's because the trend, I know it was set by Sundowns. Remember, with their post fitness trainer, who was at Al Ali now, he used to put the cones there. But I understood why they're doing it, and then it followed that trend. But we need to understand the why in order to advance our science. But the importance of science is the importance of science football is very big. Because other teams overseas, they foresee someone who's going to get an injury in the next 3 months because of the equipment, the resources, the broad technical stuff that they have, the budget for the technical stuff, and you'd see a recovery time overseas for umuntu olimele than a recovery time umuntu olimele la. It's either uyapola, then after 2 months it comes back again, that injury. So science, sports and exercise science is very important in our game, and I hope it upgrades one day.
What is your view on football development in South Africa?
There is potential. We are not where we need to be. We need to hold coaches and players, both of them, accountable. I use the principle with my players, 22/2. So it means I see you for 2 hours. For the next 22 hours, what are you doing? Are you accountable? How do you sleep? What do you eat? Do you train at home? What are your habits? We are hlonipha endlini for the next 22 hours. For 2 hours, are you pretending kuhlonipha? Mawufika endlini awuhloniphi? Are you recovering on time? Those kind of things. Nami 22/2. What do I do for the next 22 hours to find ways to increase my performance as a coach and the players' performance also on and off the field, which is development. And development is not only youth; it's a daily thing. Even in a professional level, there's something called athlete development, where you check the development of the player in the senior team. Are they reaching targets? Like for example, let's say Andile Jali has developed for the last 3 seasons. There's a huge development in his. If you can track the development, that means there's certain kind of coaching that's happening, and there's certain accountability from him that has been happening. Because AJ begalimala from the last 2 seasons. Now you could see there's some accountability that's happening. Now coming back to grassroots, if we're saying players might be held accountable, who is around them? That is the question, and that is development also. And then coming to the state of football, we are still far, and I'm not happy about it. I'm a league. I can say the only functional and running league developmentally EGDL. That's the one, because of the big 6, big 7, and consistent other teams that are always there, and of course the engine, of course. But the other things that are happening is not good enough. I think we can improve. ABC Khorman Bega 2019 Mklaring Stadium, Gudlala EM Tigers, coached by Godfrey Sapula versus Semsa Sports Center. That was my last time looking at ABC. I was like, no, I can't watch that, because I watched that and I watched what JDR Stars versus Don Stars at Alexander Stadium. That was the final game, and I was like, no, this is the ethics here are not of what ABC Motsepe has to stand for. So that's why I stopped watching it.
Tough one, that league.
Yeah.
Your football philosophy.
Oh, ufuna bangikope bangihle.
Hmm?
Ufuna bangikope bangihle.
And by the way, help us also understand, because there's always, what is this team style of play? What is this team philosophy? In what context? What do we mean when we talk about the philosophy of a coach, a philosophy of a team?
I did it that was my first module. First module. Establishing a coaching philosophy and pedagogy. Yes, that philosophy comes from way back, a Greek philosopher. I think it was Grammaticus, who always was a thinker on how things should be done, establishing wrong, establishing right, establishing how a person should live. So coming to my philosophy, not tactically or way of playing, I have a coaching ethos. My ethos is how accountable are you for your growth? That's the first question. Number 2, I use the 3 Ds. Are you dedicated enough? Are you determined enough? And are you disciplined enough to live as a human being, not as a football player? That's the second one. And then I use the 5 Ps. Poor performance, proper planning prevents poor performance, and poor planning promotes poor performance. So those 2 things, are you willing to, what are you willing to choose? Because there's good and there's bad. The last one is, are you reactive or proactive in life? Are you willing to plan over the next 3 months for your success in anything you want to do? Or are you willing to face adversity and then react and feel sorry for yourself? That's my ethos. That's my philosophical ethos. And then socially, the sociology, how are my players going to come out there and impact the society? You know, from Elokshin, from the club, because we come with players who come from different socio-economic backgrounds, socio-cultural background, socio-emotional and psychological backgrounds. So how am I gonna take these people and make them sing one song to impact people out there? Because 90% of them won't be professional footballers. That's what data says. How are they going to impact society? That's my philosophy. And if it's successful, that means my philosophy is working. And then coming to football, philosophy. Philosophy is based on what we call, but it's phasing out now, a game model. A game model comes through with, where are you situated? If I'm situated in Tembisa, Tembisa FC idlala PSL, I need to see the society, the sociology. Number 1, they are talented, they are hardworking. Okay, the community is affected by drugs, alcohol, a lot of less opportunities. How can I make football be in their hearts? For example, you'd hear Coach Micho when he arrived the Pirates says we have to do a lot of soul healing, and that's the sociological part of football. If I'm here, I need to see what they like. How can I grasp in their culture? How can I make people come to the stadium or support the team in any kind of way? That's the philosophical way. Then, okay, fine. There's now something called a coaching doctrine. A coaching doctrine is where you now put your ideas as a coach. Maybe you'd say, I'd like to emulate Jurgen Klopp, the Wetland. I'd like to emulate Guardiola or Mourinho. But it won't look like that. There are certain pieces that you take, because Pep Guardiola says the best coaches are the biggest criminals, because they steal ideas. So I like the way Pep defends, or I like the way Umapakula defends, but I don't like the way he attacks. So I'll take the way he defends and I'll grasp maybe somewhere from Coach Tando, Coach Karabo, how he attacks or how he likes his teams to press. So that's a coaching doctrine, you know. And then then tactically, now you set it up. I'd like to play 1-4-4-2. Is it rigid? Is it dynamic? Do you want to play? I always tell Coach Fiso in Tamboga Davide from goalkeeper to to the strikers, which still works. It works in Tamboga Davide. Or do you want to start from the back, or do you want to play second balls? Now you write it down. It's like you're writing your own Bible or your own coaching doctrine. Your ideas come up. Right, it's left. So that's a philosophy of life, football, and coaching ideas.
Your preferred system, and please don't tell me you coaches like to say no, it depends on the opposition. What is your preferred system? All conditions in place, what is your preferred system?
Bro, okay, I don't want to lose you, but I think 1-4-3-3 with one holding midfielder and two central midfielders, not attacking midfielders, central midfielders who can move up and down. Then wingers, of course, and a striker. But I call it 1-4-3-3 hybrid. Change something. Change during the game, intentionally so, because of the functions of the players that I want. Once Coach showed Coach Fiso and was surprised about it, but we had an argument on it. But it's fine. We negotiated it and we finished it. 1-4-3-3 that changes to a 1-4-4-2 in certain zones. That changes into a 1-4-1-3-2. And when we attack, of course, it changes into a 3-man scheme. When we are building up from the back, I want to build up from the back. I want to play percentage football in phases. I keep the principle of width, depending who's wide. I believe in numerical and cohesion superiority. Cohesion ukuthi sazana kanjani samajita, and numerically, and of course qualitative. That's what I believe in. Then of course, I won't say it depends on, but it will depend on where the ball is, how we hybrid from that, and how we control. My game is more of control, and I don't mean control possession, controlling the moments of the game, controlling you, taking you to places where you don't want to be, controlling the ball, controlling the space, controlling which is very important, the intensity and the tempo of the game. So that's my system, I guess.
It's complicated for me as a fan to understand, but I'm a fan sitting in the stands, a team coached by Phiwe. What am I gonna see?
Happy hour yona vele niyayithola yabo, but it is to eliminate and go forward, because I use the number line kune negative kune positive, so you need to always go positive if uzoyenza leyo nto leyo to benefit the team. Sometimes we isolate to overload, or overload to isolate into ezinjalo. So basically sihlangothini laka left bagcwale, and then masilisa makadlala i-attention yonke ngapha silisa ngale, so that we can score. But for my team, you'll see a direct, hard running, hard pressing, hard tackling, very, very, very cohesive and intentional team. And of course, we are a team that starts the ball from the back, and we are a counter-attacking team and a counter-pressing team. So that's one of my moments as a team.
Briefly, help us here in simple terms, not in coach's terminology. What is counter pressing?
Counter-pressing, wayidlala i-hips, bakukepsela amazimba.
I'm from KZN.
Bakuthathela amazimba, bakuthathela amazimba, sathi yawavula bawathi.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's that. So if I wathi nix mapha,
Oh yes.
mina ngithi, you understand?
Yes.
La so because ibhola amazimba, ngikupha amazimba. Wena mawavula ngenzani ngiyawathatha, ngiyakuchwagela ibhola. So that's counter pressing. So I lose the ball. The moment I lose the ball, unintentionally and intentionally so, I have to get the ball from you in a space, probably 5 seconds, 6 seconds, because it's hardly demanding. I take the ball from you. Counter pressing, that means counter, it leads to a counter attack. Unless I am pressing to recycle the ball, ngiliqale phansi. So counter pressing to counter attack, or counter pressing to keep possession. But I counter press to counter attack. So it's like that.
You mentioned there sometimes it can be intentional. You can lose it intentionally. Please explain that.
I was talking to Coach Phiwe about it again. Intentionally, that means, let's say you have a weak left back opposition. You give him the ball so that Magal Trepa, as a 12 Trepa says la, already 5 people are around him, and we know that he's not really good. Maybe simprasalanga ehlangothini laga right on his right foot, and we know he can't kick with his right foot. So we pass him the ball so that he can trap on the right in order for us to still touch it from lapo, and then we score. And then unintentionally, as a loser, then we react. You'd see teams like in the PSL, that's intentional. So they want to react from the throw-in, but counter press and win it from there. So that's the intentional and unintentional.
So as fans, we see it being playing a long pass, say, hey, I helicopter, but it's intentional.
Yes, it's intentional.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Your inspiration locally and abroad.
Coaches.
Yes.
Yo ngifake emanzini ashisayo.
Again.
Locally South African based, or it can be also
South African.
Okay, I'll start go Eric Tinkler, Rulani Mkwena, Tando Zulu, Karabo Mkhudi. I'm speaking about people I've seen coaching. Mapakola, Pitsom Siman. Yes. Then abroad, Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, who also, he wasn't really that successful. Andres Villas-Boas, then Unai Emre, and Julian Lopetegui was a Sevilla. So those.
Let's speak about Jose Mourinho. There's this perception that the man is anti-football, very defensive. Do you agree with that?
In football, there are 2 moments. When you have the ball, what should I do?
Must defend.
So must I surrender? It's not that. It's not anti-football. If it's anti-football, why is he the most successful European competition manager or winner? Why did he win a Champions League, Europa League, the Conference League? Those are questions that people need to dissect. Pep once said, if I don't like it in my eye, I switch off the TV. I think they need to do that, abantu. If they watch.
So it's not a matter that it's anti-football.
No.
We just don't like how it looks like.
No, just do that. But Mourinho, for me, big inspiration, good football coach. I like him because of how he revolutionized EPL in 2004, bringing tactics, because EPL back then there was no tactics. It was just maybe individual brilliance and all that. But tactically, how do you win the league? Coming with a different style that we've never seen. And also understanding certain coaching methodologies from him. That's why I like him. I don't say I play like him, but I just like also his character and his charisma, Yeah.
know, some people they say, and I forget this phrase or saying, oh, speak it into existence. 5, 7, 10 years from now, where do you see yourself?
Firstly, done with my degree. Then secondly, I wanna be part of a serious institution that coaches football on a regular basis. Then I'd like to be a pro license holder. I want to have as many games in my coaching belts, having as many, as many. And then 5 years, that's 5 years. 10 years time, God willing, I'd like to make it professionally. As a head coach, Ngizimele as a head coach, or working with one of the best head coaches in the country or in Africa, and also connecting with as much people in the big football spaces as I can. Lastly, national team.
National team. You want to win us the World Cup? Okay.
I think
the first coach to deliver World Cup for South Africa.
AFCON. Stalin Kai. AFCON. Yeah, AFCON. You know.
My brother, it's been a real pleasure listening to you tell your story. Very educational. I've learned a lot.
Thank you very much.
You know, from a fan's perspective, we say a lot of things without knowledge, and it's understandable because we are not inside the technical teams, the coaching cycles. We are just sitting there and want our teams to play good football, and we want them to win all the time, and we don't understand what goes into it. You've spoken a lot about the science behind it, and I think, you know, as much as it's difficult in the grassroots level, I think institutions with resources should really advance science in their football. So I really appreciate you for that aspect of football, and thank you for making time. I know we have to go back and feed your snakes.
Thank you for having me on this platform. Anytime for you. And because we get to see ama-league esingazisazwa ngawo ukuthi kenzakalani, scandals, new coaches, who is being called a plumber or not, those kind of things. So it's good to see refreshing stuff, and ngiyabonga for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, my brother, and all the best in your future endeavors.
Okay, thank you.